Hello? Hello, can you hear me? Fatima, sister, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. Since you're in the class, you're the only one in the class at the moment. We'll start our class. Okay. So, did you get to watch? Watch the video class of last week?
Yes, I did watch it.
Okay. All right. So you know what's happening. Okay. So basically, what you call it? What we want to do is basically show that data in SQL Server. So if we go to the SQL Server, just want to refresh the last class. So if we go to, let me just go to the software course. All right, so if we go to the SQL Server data, the class we went last week, the class we had last week, we inserted, we created two tables. One was customer table, one was order table. Okay, so to show that on the web page, that's the what you call it, the class that we're going to do today. So I'll just open SQL Server. Okay, I'll just put my credentials here. Just 1 second. Okay. Just 1 second. I'll just have to put the credentials here. Hopefully they should work. I'm just logging in. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, just logging into the cloud. Hopefully it should work. Okay, so this was the database we had last week. All right, we created a database called TestDB, and we had two tables in here called customer and orders. Okay, I just want to refresh what we did last week. So we have customers. So if we select the customers we have here. Okay, it's just loading. We're just selecting the customers here. And here are our customers. And here we're selecting the orders. Okay. So here are our orders. Okay. All right. So the order number, this is the unique ID, the primary key, and then this is related to the customer ID table here as a foreign key. This customer ID is related to this customer ID, and then the order date. And we can create more fields in order as well, like the order location or something like that. So yeah. So in fact, let me just quickly do that. I'll just quickly add an order location. So we, you know, it makes a bit more sense or something like that to have details in the orders. So I'll create another column here. This column, we'll just call this order location. I'll give this an envar char 50, and we'll save it here. So we've added another column in orders. And I'll just modify this, edit rows. And I'll just add some values here, Sydney, Perth, Sydney, Melbourne, I don't know about Brisbane, and Sydney. Okay, so this is the orders. This was we made the. This was the customer related to them who made the order. This was the date, and this was the location where he made the order. Okay, this is an example. You could. This is just an example I'm showing you guys. Okay, so let's show the customer details. So if I just get out of here, I'll just refresh this. So let's just show the customer details and the order details on a web page. Okay, so let's go to Visual Studio. All right, this is Visual Studio here. Now, I requested you guys a while ago to download Visual Studio. If you don't know where it is, I'll just quickly show you guys again. Go to just type in Visual Studio Community Edition and just download here, download Visual Studio Community, and here's the free version, Visual Studio Community. Okay, you can download here. Okay, so do all you guys have Visual Studio installed on your computer? Fatima?
No, I will install it.
Okay, Asif bhai?
No, I have done that, but the last step of ask me, I think it didn't go through.
Okay. Muzaffar bhai, Ali Muzaffar bhai?
Right now I don't have, but I will install today.
Okay, yeah. All right, no problem. So this is Visual Studio here, okay? So I've already, so basically, this is basically all the computer programmers, all the Microsoft computer programmers, all the Microsoft website developers use Visual Studio. That's the base, that's the development tool, or they call it the IDE. That's what they use, okay? So in here, I'll give you a bit of an introduction. If you go to File, New, right, and you create a project, usually we create a project when we start off in Visual Studio. Even though this says website here, up here you can also create a website in a project as well. So if we go to New Project, here we have a whole bunch of projects, so don't let this confuse you. There's a programming language here. We have Visual C#. Okay, C# is the main what you call it, computer programming language of Microsoft. There's two main ones. There's C# and then there's Visual Basic. Okay, this C++ and F#, just ignore these ones. We rarely use that, yeah. So the majority jobs you'll find in the workplace is people using C#, and there's some jobs out there that use Visual Basic as well. Okay, but yeah, you can see here there's other languages as well, and if you wanted to dive into there and have a look at that, JavaScript and other languages. So let's focus on C#. My main focus is on C#. Okay, we have options here. I'm not sure what this thing here is. Windows Universal. It's probably a Windows app. A Windows app is basically a client's application that's on your computer. Okay, like so if we go to let me just open this thing here. This is a Kaspersky antivirus software I have here. So this is a Windows app. Okay, it's on your computer. It's not linked to the website, but it definitely can communicate to you know, to the internet and to the network and everything. Okay, so this is kind of a Windows app. Okay, Windows. These are Windows as well. Some of them, some of the things here, console app. Console app is basically you would use that. What you call it, a console app, if you want to schedule a task. Okay, so if you wanted to, the console app actually creates a executable file, exe file, okay, which you can link it to a scheduled task. So if you create a console app, if you have, let me just go to task here, task scheduler. Okay, here's your task scheduler. Okay, now say if you wanted to run a console app every, like, you know, 1 in the morning every day. Okay, so a good example is one company I was working in, they had to check their credit card system. Okay, and if their credit card was about to expire 1 month before, they'll send out an email that your credit card is about to expire, please renew your credit card. Okay, so all that coding, all that function that was done, that was in the console app, and they would send out the email to each customer, and it would, what you call it, it would, you know, and then they'll get the email. So you can, in the console app here, you can create a task scheduler. Sorry, in the task schedule here, you can create a new task, create a task, and then here you'd specify your name of the task and everything, and here the trigger here would be you put the exe file. You'll create an exe file in the console app, and you create it. You can link that to the trigger. Okay. Well, actually, this is not it. It'd be here actions. I think it would be actions. Yep. You specify your script or your exe file, and then you can link it to your to this task scheduler, and then the triggers. I think the triggers here. We go back to the triggers. That's when you want to schedule the task. You want to schedule it daily, weekly. You know, and what time you want to schedule, those type of things. Okay, so I don't want to go too much detail with console app. If we get time, maybe we might create a console app in the future. But for now, yeah. So these are the main thing: console app, Windows Form. I won't go too much into this. I don't know much about these other apps, these other projects. As you can see, there's a lot of projects here. I'm not going to go in detail with all of them. This is the main one, the web app. Okay, so there's ASP.NET web application. And this is the main one we use, the web app. Okay. There's also other stuff here if you want to create an Android app and so and so and other things as well. The cloud, Azure, there's hosting in the cloud. You can use Azure, what you call it, to do cloud development. Okay, and yeah. So the main thing we'll focus on here is the web app. Okay, so we'll call this. Let's just say we have a company called, let's say we have an online store called, let's give it a good name. We'll call it, my name is Taz. Taz is my nickname. Taz Online Shopping. Okay, that's my nickname, Taz. So I'll just call it Taz Online Shopping. All right, we'll click OK. All right, here is our projects we can choose from. I won't go too much confusing you guys. MVC is another way to develop a project, but that's even hard to understand. There's web pages. You can create an empty project. That's what we're going to do. There's web APIs as well. Web APIs, for example, the mobile apps, right? Mobile apps don't talk to the database directly. They talk via the web API. The web API is hosted on the internet somewhere or on the intranet, and basically the mobile, and then the mobile talks to the web API, and then the web API talks to the database. Okay, so he will create an empty project, and we'll just click OK. All right. If just before I do that, you can add unit test class. I won't go too much into details of the unit test right now, but you can do that. But I just want to do very simple with you guys to start off with. So we'll create an empty project. Yeah. Okay, we click OK. So while this project is loading, just I wanted to discuss a bit about the programming languages, the concept. So we've created a web page, a website. It's just loading. So some things to understand is the concept of master page. So what a master page is. A master page is kind of like, how would you say, your layout of the page. Okay, so your layout and all the what you call it, and then you'll have a web page that has reference to the master page. The reference is the content of the web page. Okay, so where the content will change. So for example, the master page, you might want to have a top header with a side menu. Okay, that would always be the same with all the web pages you browse on your what you call it, on your website. But the content, right, that would change, and that would be your web page. Okay, so that's a master page. I can probably show you guys that a bit later on. ASPX page, a .NET website is starts with the ASPX page. Okay, so if there's an extension called .aspx, let me just see if we can show you that here. So if we go to ASPX website, let me see. Here we go. Here's a website that ends with ASPX. .aspx. Okay, you can tell that is a that is a .NET or Microsoft C# or Microsoft ASP.NET website. Okay. The code behind, I'll show you the code behind in the C#. There's a web.config. Every website has a config in there. So the config information is the config. You would store information about the connection string to the database and other information in there that you can modify. So so that's what you would store in the data in the web.config. I'll show you that to you guys later on. The connection string. The connection string is related to the database. The database connection string. I'll show that to you guys. And the app settings, that's also data you can store in the what you call it, in the web.config, or any details. So for example, you wanted to store a what would you store? If you want to store like the another connection to, like, for example, Active Directory. Active Directory is a an application where they store all your users and profiles. So if you want to create a connection with Active Directory, you want to store that details, you can store that in app settings. Or like an email subject header, you can add that in the app settings as well. Okay, I'll show that to you guys a bit. All right, so if we go to the project, here's our project. Okay, it's loaded. Right now it's a blank project, so there's a web.config. This is the web.config that I was showing you guys before. Okay, it looks a bit confusing. You can just ignore most of this stuff here. The main thing you would be concerned with is the connection string. So if we go down here, we can see here this looks a bit like a HTML. Okay, this has the open tag and a closed configuration tag. This has system.web open tag and a closed system.web open tag, closed system.web tag, and so on and so on. Okay, and within the tags you have compilation. So this compilation is within the system.web tag, and the HTTP runtime is within the system.web tag. And this compilers is within the system.code DOM tag, and yeah, so on and so on. And this compiler is within the compilers tag. Okay, and then you got the attributes language, and here are the attributes here. Okay, but the main thing you'd be concerned about is if we go here, and if I type in connection string, here is the connection string value that we have an open connection string tag, closed connection string tag, and here we can add our connection string that links to our database. Okay, so if we go add connection string, add name. I'll show you how this works. We can get the connection string to automatically be populated by connecting to the database. Okay, I'll show you these guys about the connection string later. Let's go here on the web page. So we'll let me just close this, and let's go here, right click and add add a new item. And there's lots of items here. Don't get confused. There's a lot of things here, but the main thing we want to focus on is a web page, a web form. Okay, or there's a web form with master page, but I won't go in detail with master page at the moment. I'll just show you a web form. Okay, we click add, and you can see here that it's created a web form. Okay, by default it's called webform1.aspx. You can change the name. All right, you can go to this. There's the design view of the web page, which is blank at the moment. There's the split view, which shows the code, and then it shows the layout as well. And then there's the source, which only shows the code. Okay, so we'll go to the split view. Now, you can see here, this looks a bit like HTML, okay? The HTML web page had an open tag, close tag, we had a head tag, we had a body tag, and there was a form tag here as well, okay? And then there's a div, okay? So, and this part here, this is referring that there's a code behind what you call it, web page. There's a code behind, there's a code behind file called webform.aspx.cs, CS being the C# extension. If we open this, you'll see that webform.aspx.cx. That's linking to the code behind. Okay, if we look at this, this is getting a bit confusing. I know I'm throwing too much information in this tutorials, but these are using special class libraries and things like that. I'll show you a bit more about that later on if I get the time. Maybe I'm not sure if I could show you in this tutorial, but eventually in a future tutorial. And this is a class. A class is basically how would you say, like an object, what you call it, of a web page, or you can create an object, and a class it's related to an object. So this class is called web form, and this thing here is inherit. It inherits the system web page. Okay, I know this is hard to pick up. I know that you're probably thinking about a lot of things. Well, what are these things? But if I go in time, I'll show you what some of these things are. Okay, but not for right now. Right now, I just wanted to show you guys how to get the customer details showing onto the web page. This is the page. This is the event, page load event. This is where your initial coding goes when the web page starts. Okay, so if you want to write any code here, you write it in the page load event. All right. So let me give you a quick demo. I'll just write here response dot write hello world. All right. And if we go in the web form here, and if we run this, so if we just click on play button here, okay, I'll just change the browser, Internet Explorer. If you click on play, it's just playing, it's just running. It's just compiling the project. Okay, so it's just opening on my local computer. And you can see hello world here. Okay, response.write means it wrote on the web page hello world. Okay, and if you wanted to debug, if you want to debug line by line in the code, I'll go back here, response.write. I'll click here, and I'll refresh the page, and it'll go in this code, and I can debug and I can find out what it's doing. So it's response.write, hello world. Okay. All right. So let's get started here. As I said, I know you find some of these things confusing, but the more you play around with it, the more you get used to it. You have your toolbox here. Okay. We go to the toolbox here. Here's our toolbox. Okay. These are all ASP.NET controls. Okay. You got your buttons. You got your calendar. The main thing you'll use is a button. You got your drop-down list. You might use a panel or a list box. There's a lot of things you can use here. And if you wanted to go through all the ASP.NET controls, ASP.NET controls, there should be an information here somewhere. Maybe this is not the right page. Basic controls. Let me just try this side here. Tutorials. So this will tell you a bit about some of the controls, the calendar, and what else is there? The button. Is there a button here? But you can go into details a bit more with the. Here's the button here, ASP button. So basic controls. There's the button. There's text box. There's checkbox. Okay. So this is how you write the code. All right. These are the main ones: the drop-down list, list box, radio button, checkbox, bullet list. Yeah, so you can go here, tutorialspoint.com, and check out here. Okay, so there's many controls here. Okay, I'll go through some of the controls while I'm in this tutorial. So what we can do here, we can drag. We can just go here within the div. We can drag a control here. We can drag a button here. Okay, let's just drag a button on the web page. Right. Let me drag a button on the web page. Here's the button. Okay, and you can see in the code, it automatically created the button for you in the code. ASP. So every C#, what you call it, every ASP.NET control starts with ASP : and then the name of the control button. It has an ID. Button 1. You can call this anything. You can call this btn submit. All right. By default, it always this is always included. Run at server. This is just a attribute and a value you have to add in ASP.NET Control, and the text value here. The text value, we can call this here submit form. And if we click here, synchronize it, it changes to submit form. Okay. So this is a button. Okay, if we wanted to add a drop-down list, all right, I'll show you by code now. We'll just go here, ASP, drop-down list, ID, DDL location, for example. DDL being the drop-down list. This is just giving an ID. Run at server, and And I think that's about it. So if we close this and synchronize, we can see the drop-down list. Okay. Now, if you wanted to add a function to this button, we just double-click on it here. Double-click, and we see it's created a function in here where we can do our coding in C#. Okay. So we'll do another here. We'll go response dot write submit form. All right, and we'll put a breakpoint here to debug, and we'll run this again. So when in the page load, okay, hello world. Oh, what happened here? And if we click on submit form, it'll initially go in the page load, and then it'll go into the button click event. Okay, submit form. Okay, I'll just close this again. Now, if you look, we go back into the code on the web page, the ASP.NET page, and we can see here in the button it added another attribute here on click, btn submit underscore click. That name has to be the same as this name here. Okay, so it does a lot of that coding for you, that it creates this event. And there's two parameter values here, object sender and event args. These are the default parameter values that the button shows, the button has, the ASP.NET button has. Just ignore those parameter values for now. You don't really require that. But yeah, so that's it there. Okay, so let's just create a manual, what you call it, a drop-down list, and I'll show you how that works. Okay, so we'll go here, we'll create an item, ASP list item, text, we'll call this Sydney, and the value will be Sydney as well. Okay, add more items. We'll add more items here. We'll go Brisbane. And say Melbourne. Just 1 second. Melbourne. Okay. And by default, we'll add a item here called we'll add an item here called, by default, we'll have a value called select, and the value of that select will be blank. All right, because all right. So if we run this again, I'll just show you. Let me just take out this code here. Just 1 second. All right, so if we play this again. we have the values Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne. Right now, it's there is no event linked to this drop-down list, but I'll show you how to link an event. So if we close here, and if we go here, and if we just do here, just 1 second. If we do here auto post back, so it does a post back to the code, to the CS file, and then we'll create an event. So we'll go here on selected index change, and we'll go here, we'll call this here, so we'll create a new event, DDL location selected index change. Okay, so in the background it created this for us, but if we check this out, what we'll do is protected void, and we'll just here add the object sender and event args e. Okay, and then what we'll do here, if we wanted to add here response dot write DDL location dot selected value. All right, and we'll run this again, and we'll put a breakpoint here, and we'll run this again. And if we click on Brisbane, it will go to this code. It will go in the event, and it'll do, 1 second, and we'll write Brisbane. Melbourne, you'll write Melbourne on the web page. Okay, and if you select blank, and it will go to the event, it will show blank. The value of the selected value was blank, and will show nothing on the web page. Okay. Now, this thing here, this code here, if you see here, how would you say it? Okay, this thing here, protected and void. Okay. Protected means what is the level you want to give your function. There's a public here, there's a protected, and there's a private. Okay, so for example, a public class, you can what you call it, if you want to use that class anywhere else on your web page, on your website, you can reference that. Okay, but a protected class, a protected function, you can only use when you inherit when you inherit a class. You can't see this function directly available when you create a new instance of a web form. The best way for me to demonstrate this to you is to show an example. Okay, so here let's have a let's create a class. Okay, I don't know if this, I think this is the best way to show you. Add new item, and we'll create a class, and we'll just call this class customer. Okay, so we have a class here called customer. All right, here is a public class called customer. Okay, now we can create a property here of a customer, just like a property of just like a column name here in the what you call it in the SQL Server here. a column name, we have a contact name and an address. So we can go here, we can go here, public, public, okay, public, what you call it, data type. We have to specify the data type. String is an varchar, it's a text value. So it'll be here, get and set. No, actually, we're going to give this a name, customer name. I'll just write here, get and set. Now, this is a public property of the customer. Okay, so the class name, this is the object called customer, and this is a class. This is a property in here called customer name. We specify the property by using get and set. Okay, I know this is a bit too confusing. I know I'm putting a lot of information here in this tutorial, but yeah, so this is the best way I can teach. I'm not sure exactly another way, unless I go through all the theory first, then show you the practical, then show you the physical stuff. But that would be very much time consuming. So I'm just showing you the, I'm showing you the practical, and I'm trying to blend in the theory with the practical. So the address, so if you go here, if you have a thing here, if you call it private, if you have a function here called private string address, and we'll just give it a property get set. Okay, so let me just show you this here. Okay, so we have a public class called customer. So if we go here and say in the page load, right? We go here, customer. All right, that's the class we created, and we give it a name. We'll just call it here. We can call this here. We can just call this CUS, short for customer. Equals here new customer. So we're creating a new instance of customer. All right. And then we go here, customer dot customer name equals here Bob, right? And then we can go here, response dot write dot customer name. All right, so let's go here and run this web page. All right, you got a customer here. All right, create, say, if we just go in the code, I'm just pushing F11 to get into the code. Okay, then it's, sorry, I'm pushing F10 to debug the code. For the customer name, currently value is null if we add this to the watch. Wait, hold on. Currently the value is null, but now we're setting a value, Bob, and it's writing Bob as the customer name. Okay, as you notice here, I'll just close this. Customer.address, we can't see address, okay, because that's a private function. Okay, as soon as we go here, customer, and we change this from a private to a public class, then we'll go here, customer.address. Now we can see address. Okay, we can use an instance of this class. We're going to say here, address is, 123 George Street, Sydney. Okay. And if you want to do here, if you want to do response.write address, we'll just do that here, and we'll run this code again. We'll go in the code, and I'll just write his address here. Okay. In the future, if I get time to show, if I get time to show you all this class and everything, I'll show you more into details about the function and the function type, like protected. What would that be used for? But really, what I wanted to show you, and I've spent a lot of time here showing you more about .NET, ASP.NET. Really, what I want to do is show you how to get that data from here, SQL Server, to the web page here. Okay. So if we go here, we'll go back. I think I'll show you more about .NET in later future tutorials. But here, if we go here, we'll add in the controls. There is a data, and here we add a grid view. All right. We'll drag that grid view here. A grid view basically can show you the data from a web page, from a database, and it will display that on a web page directly. Okay, so we'll just call this here grid view. We'll give it an ID, grid view customers. All right. So here we need to specify. Now we want to make the web page talk to this database. Okay. So the way to do that, right, is you would go here and you would the way to do that is you would drag a SQL data source here to get the connection string value. Okay, you drag that here, okay, and you specify in the SQL data source. Sorry, I did the wrong thing here. Sorry, I'll just undo that. If you go to the SQL data source and you go here, configure data source. All right, you specify the connection string value here. You go new connection, data source. Okay, Microsoft SQL Server as your database. You can select your different databases here as well, Oracle databases, other databases here as well. You click on continue. We'll give it the database name here. SQL Server authentication. We'll give it the username here. And we'll give it the password. I'll just put in the password. Password here. And then here we can select the database. See the test DB? Okay, test DB here. I'll show you test DB here. This is the database name, test DB. Connecting the database here. We can test the connection. Click on OK. All right. We click OK here. Just 1 second. It's just all right. It's just saying what you want your connection string to be. All right. We'll just that's the name it's giving it. K5 Trading Test DB. I'm sorry, this is the name it's giving it, testDB connection string. All right, click next. All right, it's saying what table do you want to directly query? So it's picking up the table names, customer, orders. Okay, these are the two tables we've created, customers and orders. Okay, so we've got customers and we've got orders. Okay, so we just want to select everything. The star means every column from customer. We click next. We can test the query. Okay, we click on finish. All right, now we have the connection string. Okay, so if we go back to our web.config, all right, this is our connection string. The name, the data, the location of the data, the database server. The initial catalog is the database name, the user ID here, and then the password here. I won't show you the password, but the password here is here as well. Okay, this is our connection string value. Okay, test DB. All right, so we got that here. Okay, so the specific functions that we could that we need to use to get that data from the test. We got the connection string. We need to get that data into the web page. Okay, so let me see if I could do this here. If I could just link it here to show off to you first. SQL data source. Let's select SQL data source. All right, and let's give this a play. So with SQL data source created the connection string. It's a data source, and we linked this grid view customers with the SQL data source. Now, if we play this here, okay, it's just loading that here. Here is the data on the web page. From the database. Did you guys see that? Asif, hi.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Okay, so we're specifying the connection string, and the connection string, what you call it, is linked to this grid view, and the grid view is showing the data. Okay. All right. So let's just create another web page. Okay. I just wanted to create another web page. If you want to show this data by code. All right. So if we go here, new item, and go web page, and we'll create a web form. Just call this customer details. All right. So we'll go back here in the split view. And we can just type it here. ASP grid view runner server ID grid view customers. All right. Let's create a grid view here for us. Now, if we want to link that to our web page, so now we're on customer details. This is the customer detail page. Now we'll set this as a startup page when we open the website. All right, we set this as a startup page. Now, if we go in the code, yeah, we'll just write here. The one good code to write here is if is postback. Okay, if is postback is equal to false. Okay, postback means that every time the page load, it will only when the page load, this function will get executed. When there is a button clicked or something, then this function won't get executed because it's within in the post back section. All right, so let's create a let's link that to the grid view customers here. Grid view customers, right? So if we run this web page right now, so if we set a start page and we click play, then we see nothing at the moment. Okay. All right. So actually, I'll just do that again. So we'll just go here, customer details. If we click play, we'll see nothing at the moment. We'll just see the text customer details. Okay. So I'll just play that. I'll just show that to you guys again. So we're only seeing here customer details, but we're not seeing the data in the grid view. Okay. So what you got to do, right? We've got the grid view here. We've got to do this code. It's called, this is ADO.NET. It's basically how the web page links to the database. This is the coding behind it. You do here called SQL connection. This is how you do the coding, all right? You write SQL connection, all right? It's using the system.data.sql, what you call it, namespace here. So it's added the system.data.sql, or else you can just write it here. You can just write here, what you call it. Let me just, if you can just go here, system.data.sql.client.sql connection. All right, con. We'll give this a name, con. Okay, equals here new connection string, and we specify the connection string name, which is in the web.config, which is the test.db connection string. All right, so where are we? Customer details, sorry. So we specify the connection string name. Actually, to specify the connection string name, to get that value of the test DB, would go here, configuration manager dot connection string, and this is the connection string value. Connection string. Okay, this is a bit too confusing for you guys, I know. I'm trying my best to do the best I can. All right, so we create an instance of a connection string called con. All right, so we go here, we create another one called SQL command. All right. Now, we can do this again. We can go here, SQL command, or we can just do this in here. We can grab this system.data SQL client, and we just go here, using SQL client, and then we can specify the SQL command here. Okay, so the SQL command, and the same we can do here with the, because they're both using the same namespace. So we can go here, SQL connection here, and even this configuration, we could just go here, we can take this out and we just write here, if we go here, using system.configuration, we got that here. Now if we go command, we'll just write here command, cmd equals here new SQL command, and and we'll specify the connection string con. All right, it's specifying, it's saying what parameter values for this connection. So there's there is the what you call it, the command text. So if we put the command text, so we go here, we put the SQL. Hold on. Here. We put the SQL query here. We'll go here, select star from customers. So we've got here customers. All right, and we'll specify the connection string con. All right, and in the command we specify command dot type. Command type is this a command type of stored procedure, text, or something like that. So I don't know about the table direct. I don't know what that is. But stored procedure, text, stored procedure is this in here. If we go programmability, I created this last week. The stored procedure. Get order details by customers. This is a stored procedure. And we can specify that here. If we give the stored procedure name here in the command text, we can get all the details here. Get all the details by customers, right? We can go here. We can execute this, and we specify the customer ID. Customer ID being this parameter. So if we go here 1. All right. There is no order by the customer ID 1. All right, so if we have a look at the customer ID. So if we have a look at the orders, customer ID 50. All right, so if we go back here and say 50. All right, so the customer ID 50, which is this person here, 50. Mason Dewey, customer ID 50, has made these orders. Okay, so that's according to stored procedure. We can specify here. We can go here and we can go here and give it the stored procedure name, and go from there. Okay, but right now we're doing a direct query. We're doing a text query, so we'll just specify text query. This is a text query here. We're not calling any stored procedures. We're doing a direct query against the database. So we're doing direct query against the database, okay? So so select star from, so basically what I'm doing here, I'll just close all, let me just close all the values here. So basically if you right click and do a new query here and test DB. Select star from customers. So we should be retrieving all these records here. Okay, select star from customers. All right. Or you don't need these brackets, you can take that out as well. All right, so then you got here, then you got here, I think this is, you've got here con connection, you've got to open the connection string, con dot open, sorry, open the connection string. And then we do here CMD, and then we create a data set. I think that's SQ, we create here a data set. Okay, this is where it stores all the data in. Data set DS goes in new instance of the data set, and we call, and I think just hold on, let me just do this quickly here. Let me just check here. Just one second. So ADO.NET SQL command. Code examples. SQL command. Well, I think it's SQL data adapter, that's right. SQL DA, which equals new SQL, and we specify the parameter command. And then we go here, SQL DA dot fill the data set value with the command. And then we just go here, connection dot close. We can close the database connection. And then we have the grid view dot customers dot data source, which is the data set, and grid view dot customers dot data bind. We're just binding it here. Let's see if this works. Let's set a startup page. Now let's put a breakpoint here. All right, so it's going on the page load, doing query command, it's opening the connection string. So if you wanted to see the values in the command, for example, you can go here, you can just click on it here and you see all the property values. Select star from command and all that stuff here. All right, and then with the connection open, we create a data adapter, we fill the data, okay, done. Data source. There you go. We got the data. Did you guys see that?
Yep.
Okay. So quickly, I'll just quickly show you the order, how to get the order. We'll just do a stored procedure query, and how to get the order based on the customer, right? We had a parameter value. Okay, so we just create an order. Let me just close this. I'll create a web page called here, order details. A new item. Order details. All right, so we have this here, web page, order details, set a startup page. So we'll add the grid view here. So we'll go here. We'll add the Asp grid view, or I can just drag and drop here. I can drag the grid view if I want here. Make the grid view here. I hope you notice why people use C# coding just instead of pure JavaScript, because you wouldn't have these type of controls that does the functions in the JavaScript. That's why you have Asp.NET controls that make your development easier for you, like the grid view, for example. All right, so we're here, grid view, orders. All right, so let's do another query here. All right, so we'll just go here. I'll just grab this code here from here. And we'll just go here, we'll paste that here. Again, we haven't used the using reference. That's why it's showing that what's this. It's not understanding what this SQL command or this SQL connection is. So as soon as you go here, let me just add this. As soon as you add system.data.sql, it add that there. And as soon as you go using system dot configuration. You'll pick that up there. All right, and the data set using .data, go there. And let's say if we wanted to call a stored procedure. Okay, so if we go here, here's our stored procedure. Get order details by customer ID. Okay, so if we can specify here the stored procedure name. Get all the details by customer ID. Now we have to specify here that this is a stored procedure instead of a text. Okay, and then we've got to go here, cmd.parameters. There was a parameter in there. Dot add. So we add new SQL parameter. Do we give the parameter name? What's the parameter name? The parameter name here, which is customer ID. Okay, I'll just show it to you again. We modify here. I'll just modify the stored procedure. And we got the customer ID as the parameter. Okay, so we specify the parameter here. And then the parameter name. Parameter name, the data type, SQL DB type, SQL DB type dot integer. It's an integer. Okay, it's an integer data type. All right, and we'll just specify here cmd dot parameters dot. You can specify the parameter name. Customer ID dot value equals 50. Okay, we can specify this value later on, but we'll just give it 50. So 50. It's the same thing as doing this here. Same thing as executing here. We'll just execute 50. That's the same thing here, right? We're putting the 50 value here. Okay. And let's see if this works. Okay, preview customers. So we'll just change this here. Review orders. Review orders. Let's see if this works. All right, it's running the code. Okay, adding a parameter. Opening the connection. Yep, put the data in. There you go, order details. See it? Did you guys see that?
Yep.
All right. So I'll wrap it up here for today because it's nearly 12 o'clock. But yeah, that's how you do a bit of the coding, how to get the data from here to the from the SQL Server data and basically what you call it, and I'll show it on the web page. Obviously, you can do many other things with the web page. So, but like if you want to customize it, if you wanted to only show certain columns and these type of things, you can do that on the web page as well. Okay, but But that's something I showed you with the database, with SQL Server database and ASP.NET web page. So this is the SQL Server code. All right. So this is the C# code, and yeah. So this is how you connect to the database. Okay. Any questions? Anyone? Anyone? Did you guys get all that? I'm pretty sure you guys wouldn't have got all that information.
I think we have to just see the video once again and practice, and maybe then we'll get the hang of it.
Okay. All right, no problems. All right, then we'll end this class, and inshallah, yeah, take care of yourself, and yeah, that's about it. Cool.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Hassan.
No problem.
Thank you very much, Mirza brother. Thanks.
No problem. Salam.
Bye.
Thanks, brother.
No problem. Salam. Bye.